If you are seeing this screen, possibly you got an issue of error establishing a database connection in your WordPress website. In this ultimate tutorial, we will be going through 5 possible solutions to fix this issue. So without wasting any of our time, let's quickly jump into our first fix. Whenever you are seeing this issue, the first hint to go is always to make sure your host is working. In my case, as I am on my local host, so I have to check if my local host, my SQL is working or not. So if I try to start it, because at the moment it was not working, and if I have started and refresh my page, it worked. So in this particular case, issue was indeed due to the reason our server or host was down and our MySQL database was not running. So once we started our server and MySQL database is reachable, we fixed our issue. So now move towards our second issue. And if your host is working but still you are facing your error establishing a database connection, so our second hint can be we have to check if our host path is connected properly. How to do that? I'm going into my website files. So I am opening my wp-config.php file, which is residing at the root of my installation. And now if I go inside my db_host settings and I have to verify it is pointing to my current existing host. Like in my case, I am on my local host and my host, my SQL address is localhost or 127.0.0.1. But in this particular backup file, I am having a wrong path. Now, how to fix it? I have to add path of my server. In this case, path of my server is indeed localhost. Once done, I have to save my file and try again to view my site if that works for me. All right. In your case, you have to make sure your path to your host, MySQL host or your database is correct and it is working. All right. Even if still your issue is not fixed by having a proper path, now jump into our third hint, which can be a solution for our issue. All right. Now move on to our third issue. All right. So we assume previous two methods did not work for us. Now we are moving towards our third option. So what it can be? Once our host is running and our host path is proper, the next bet is to go to our wp-config file again and to check if our database name and credentials are as intended. All right. If I check in my case, my database name is pointing to my backup. But if I check, I have imported this database named as Slate. So I have to make sure my database name is working properly and pointing to the correct database. All right. So once I have done that, second thing is I have to make sure my username and password are also matching my current user and password on phpMyAdmin. All right. So in this case, as I am on my local host, so my username is root and my password is empty. All right. So once done, I have to simply save it and check again if my site is back and working for me or not. All right. So this worked for us. So far, we have been three different possible fixes, and all of these worked in our case. And if still your issue is not fixed as intended, now let's jump into the fourth one. Okay, if previous three methods are not working for you, we are checking for the fourth one. At times, memory limit can also lead towards to a database connection error. So, how to fix it? First of all, we have to go to our wp-config.php file and we have to try to increase our memory limit. How to do that? We have to simply use define constant, and what is the name of the constant which we will be using is wp underscore memory underscore limit, and we can add it to some large number. In my case, I am setting it to 1512 m. M means megabytes. All right. And if I try to connect again to my MySQL host, earlier it was not working because memory was too low to work and it was connection was failing. All right, so once this is done, I have to try to refresh my page again and see if that works for us or not. It looks like it is still not working, so we have to keep an eye and see if that works for us or not. And we can also check if our host is running. Now our host is running properly, so we have increased our memory to a stable number. So let's see if that works for us. One thing to remember, whenever we are changing or playing with our configuration settings, not from the OK, it works, not from the wp-config site, but from the PHP configuration. So how to do that? In that case, if let's say setting this alone doesn't work for you, if even this doesn't work for you, then you have to go to your server host and inside that PHP folder, and you have to open your PHP configuration files. All right, now as at my end I am using XAMPP, and inside my XAMPP folder, let me show you fully from back. I am going inside my XAMPP folder, and then I am going inside my PHP folder, and again I am going or moving towards my php.ini file, which is called as php configurations file. All right, and then I have to simply search here like memory. Okay, I can go like this, memory limit. All right, so yes, you can see my settings were quite low, so I have to update my setting here as well, like we did in our configurations file. Once done here, I have to simply save this file and move back to our host. So it can be on any host like Bluehost, Hostinger, GoDaddy, or even on localhost. So once you have to play with your configuration settings, you have to restart your host once again. So your new configuration settings can take effect. Once done, you have to get back and try to refresh your page again, so it will be working for you. Here in this particular solution, we have been through two solutions. One from our wp config file. If that fails, we can go from our actual PHP configuration files. All right, even if all those four methods are not working for you, we will be still having another option, and in the next couple of minutes you will be seeing that one. All right, so let's move on to that one. All right, in the last possible solution for this particular tutorial can be if our database got corrupt and we have been through all four methods and none of them work, so we can still have another option. So how to check if our database is having some sort of a corruption, that may be during import or migration of data. All right, let's move on to this particular fix. So again, we will be going to our wp config file, and here we have to simply add our new constant. Now this time our constant will be wp underscore allow underscore repair. All right, now we will be setting it to true. What it does, it simply, whenever it is added in our configuration files, it allows us to repair our database if it's have any sort of a corruptions. So how to do that, or how to run our repair file? So for that we have to go to our website path, like in my case it is localhost slash slate. Then we have to pass our directory, which is wp-admin. Then we have to use word like maint, and then you have to call repair.php file. All right, so this is the path. Once I am clicking and entering, so it gives us two options. One is to repair database, and second is to repair plus optimize. So in our case, we have to simply go to check if repair is working for us. All right, it looks like we are having, indeed we are having an issue. It says wp options doesn't exist, as wp options is a main table and it is not existing, so that's why we may be seeing this error. Now how to fix it? We have to go to our database. In my case it is named as slate. Then we have to check for our wp options. All right, so options table is coming from backup because its name is set to wp underscore options underscore old. All right, wp underscore coming from prefix of the database. In your installation it can be anything, but the main thing is options table should be there. All right, so how to fix it? First of all, I can simply try to go to its operations and try to rename back it to options and see if that works. All right, it looks like we are having some issue, and we can see if it works for us. Okay, so we can try to see, and we can try to just refresh. All right, it looks like it worked. WP underscore options. We got our database name all good. And if we just try to view our website once again to see if, all right, it worked all good for us. The issue was corruption of our database. All right, so we can simply go to this link once again to see if there are any issues. No, it says no issues found at all. We have to remove this line. Then we can simply go back and remove this line and save our file, and we are good to hit our website. All right, that's how we fix error establishing a database connection in WordPress step by step. We always go from one step until our database is working and in fine stage. All right, if you are a WordPress developer are working for your own website, or you want to learn deep into WordPress, you can check our YouTube channel for more tutorials where we are providing you full series on plugin development from scratch, and we are also posting daily fixes like this. All right, have a nice time. See you in the next video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel. Bye bye.